Hi, and welcome to week 3, and congratulations on completing week 2. We're now moving into the heart of the course, and this week we're talking about interpreting the Old Testament narrative and law. Now, our goals this week are to apply the interpretive methods utilized in the evaluation of narratives and law, and to construct a theological statement from the interpretation of Old Testament narratives. Now, as you move through the program and move into more systematic theology or theology courses, you can actually use this material again to help save time, and then you'll be able to expand it in those courses. So be sure to keep your theological statement in your files, and then you can use it as a reference later. Now, we have a couple of assignments. Assignment 3.1 is a paper, and I want you to identify and discuss various aspects of plot, character, time, dialogue, and others with regard to Genesis 22, verses 1 to 24, which is the passage about Abraham sacrificing Isaac. Please note that the example of narrative analysis provided in the course lecture entitled Interpretation of Old Testament Narrative will help you in this as well. I will also post a lecture that I did for another class on narrative that may also help guide you into what my expectations are for this assignment as you interpret the passage. Now, to do this correctly, it is more than just a summary of the plot. I want you to look at which characters the author has decided to give us, how the narrator constructs the narrative, and how the narrator begins and ends specifically the narrative, telling us what, in fact, we're to learn as readers of the passage. Be sure to look at each and every character mentioned, be it God, Abraham, Isaac, servants, whoever, and look at how they're developed. Are they an agent? In other words, useless except to move the plot forward? Are they central and fully developed, which tells us what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and really a more developed character? Or are they agents? Are they, not an agent, I'm sorry, a stereotype? Is it a type character, the perfect wife, the perfect husband, the perfect son, the perfect whatever? And really, they're a foil for the plot, but they are not a developed character for the plot. So that's your analysis, and that should be a section. Another section should be the use of time. How is time utilized? And we want to look at verbs. Is it action, 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 or do we pause and have dialogue? So how is time used? What time periods are skipped? And it's almost like looking at a movie where the narrator cuts from one scene to another scene and then slows the action way down, and we get almost a slow motion view of what's taking place. So I want a discussion of time. I want a discussion of dialogue. How is dialogue utilized? What types of things are said? What are the nuances about what is being said? What are the words used? And so an in-depth discussion of dialogue. And then finally, a discussion of the plot. What is going on? What is the point? And then a theological understanding, pulling all of that together. What are we theologically to learn about God from this passage? Now, the assignment calls for Turabian format on your paper. I am looking for engagement with your reading. I'm looking for engagement with outside research, papers, books, articles, and then I am looking for engagement clearly with the Bible. And in fact, if there are other passages beyond Genesis, I'm looking for engagement across different biblical passages. So it's an in-depth assignment. It's an important assignment because so much of the Old Testament is narrative, We need to be able to understand how it's put together. And then we have a discussion post this week. Having completed the interpretation assignment, which means having already done your week paper, think about how the narrative demonstrates an aspect of God's character. So what do we learn about God through Genesis 22? Try to complete the following statement. Based upon my reading of Genesis 22, 1 to 24, I understand that God is a God who blank. Like our other assignments, I'm still looking for engagement with the reading, engagement with the Bible, and engagement with outside research. As you complete the statement, try to keep in mind the manner in which the narrative portrays the relationship between God, humanity, and our world. As always, with discussion posts, your first post is due Friday at midnight, ongoing discussion over the weekend, concluding Monday at midnight. Be sure to use citations, be sure to include outside research, and be sure to engage in biblical passages, not just this week, but every week. Call me or email me with any questions. I think the class is moving along well. We're hitting some great information. I've really appreciated your papers and look forward to wrapping up my grading for week 3 or week 2 and getting that back out to you guys. Have a great day, and I look forward to hearing from you soon.